Aloha, YouTubers. Hi, I'm Rock, and I'm coming back at you with another live stream. And in today's live stream, I'm going to do a deep dive, not only on the Traxxas uh, C10 Chevy pickup truck, no pep drag RC, but also on the Losi 69 Camero 22S no pep drag RC. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one is better. I'm just going to tell you, give you folks my think what's the greatest features on both RCs and tell you which one will give you the better value. So that way you can decide whether or not, or decide which, if you're thinking of getting either or, maybe it will help you with your decision on choosing which one is right for you. Now, I didn't plan to do this live stream about um, any no prep drag RC. I was kind of moving on to other things, but because I received a comment the other day, and I was like, you know, uh, see, people don't know what they don't understand, and I'm not I'm not the type of person, you know, you know. Actually, I am, an RC know-it-all, but I don't want to like portray that perception on my YouTube channel because it's not good content. But because I received this comment from this person right here, yes, I'm calling him out. RC stuff. You look like a retard Mike Tyson. Okay, so that kind of lit the fire, the passion to be motivated to make this do this live stream. Now, I usually don't call out comments, and you know, you can call me whatever you want, retard, Mike Tyson, idiot. Um, hey man, I got thick skin, man. I got thick skin. I can handle whatever you can call me. Like say, call me anything you want, man. Whatever. I've been called worse. I've been through a lot worse. So you're not gonna shake me in my boots. You're not gonna make me scared. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. But like I say, if you're gonna bring the heat, you better expect heat back. And not only that, you better bring facts, man. Hardcore facts. Because you know what? I'm gonna bring back the heat, and not only gonna bring back the heat, I'm gonna bring facts, man. 100% legitimate facts. So without any further ado, let's get to it. Oh, but before I continue on with this live stream, I just wanted to let people know in the mid 90s, well, the 90, 94, 95 ish, about there around that time, I was really heavily into drag racing. And I'm not talking about RCs, I talk about real life drag racing. Yes, I have traveled to California and to the Pomona racetrack several times to go to drag racing. Now, I was invited to these events because I knew people who were involved in the drag scene. So they asked me if I could go check it out, come around, blah blah blah. I also known people in the business, no prep drag. I mean, not no prep, drag racing. Uh, People that own popular uh, shops in California. So I do have a background, and I do have some kind of knowledge in drag racing. So I just want to point out, and not only that, I have customized, built, and race in the drag racing scene. I have I spent a lot of money in drag racing, and not only that, customizing and modifying um, vehicles or cars, especially in the import scene. You know, so people who know me know I'm a great builder, and not only a great builder, a great modifier and customizer. Back in the days, now I haven't done it in a while because I moved on to other things, but I just wanted to give you folks some sort of kind of background, so at least I know I have some kind of knowledge. It might be a whole universe of knowledge, but some kind of knowledge, like your basic, your fundamentals, which you always should know. So without me rambling, let's move on to this live stream. So I'm what I'm gonna do is gonna just go into my my opinion on the Traxxas drag slash. This is my opinion, and like I said, I'm gonna go over certain features or functions that I think is important um, for you viewers. I'm not gonna go through every single detail or you know like the specs, wheelbase, height, blah blah blah. That's kind of boring information. I'm just gonna go over, like I say, important information uh, for you folks. I think that is the best way to go. So without any further ado, let's go check out the Traxxas Drag Slash. All right, so here we are. So this is Traxxas' main selling point, right? This is what their advertising or marketing is focused on. These four right here. So this is what they're saying is what separates not only their no prep RC from other brands, but also from their slash platform. Basically, what you're getting for $499.95 is you're getting the all new Pro Series Magnum 272R transmission. So basically, what all it is a all metal gear transmission that runs or is that not runs. I guess that runs 500,000 K heavyweight diff fluid. So 500K, the heavier the silicone and the diff fluid, the more sticky it is, right? And in a differential, you will have kind of like that posi effect where one wheel is the power wheel, and then it takes a while for the opposite wheel to spin. And in drag racing, that's a no-no because what you're gonna end up doing is your RC is gonna pull hard to whatever um, to the weak side or the opposite side of the power wheel. Oh, and I just wanted to uh, disclaimer. Yes, I don't have the Traxxas Drag Slash in front of me. I never seen it in real life, but I'm just going from like my knowledge and what I've seen on other YouTube videos and the specs that is given, or what the specs that Traxxas shows on their website. And also, I don't have the Losi 69 Camero 22S no pep RC, and basically same thing like the Traxxas. I'm just going what I've seen in videos and the information that Losi shares on their website, and that's all I need to know. Whether I should get this, which if I should get any of the RCs. So I'm just gonna read it. The Magnum 272R transmission is built for hard-hitting torque. The 272R features a blue anodized aluminum motor plate. So I guess the blue anodized aluminum plate is supposed to dissipate heat quicker and faster, so keeps your 3500 kV brushless motor cooler. All metal gears and a sealed silicone-filled four-gear differential tuned specifically for drag racing with 500K heavyweight diff fluid. So I'm not too sure why they say tuned specifically, because all it is differential gearing. Maybe it's designed differently. I'm not sure. And looking at the pictures, it just looks like a differential gearing to me. I guess it's yeah. I guess it's designed differently. Kind of looks different. I'll probably go over that in when I get to the gallery page. And but like I said, the main highlight is the 500,000 K heavyweight diff fluid, which like I said makes it a lot more stickier. So instead of having that posi effect, when you launch off the start, both rear wheels will spin at the same time and at the same torque, or you can say same RPMs. So like I said, the the drag slash will pull heavy to one side because both wheels are spinning at the same time, at the same torque, at the same speed. So you have a clean launch, and you most likely off the start, you go straight. Now, like I said, I've seen videos on YouTube, and the Traxxas drag slash it launches off the line, very well. Now I don't know, like the people are claiming uh, launching off full throttle with the trans brake, some or some I don't know. Like say I just go with what I see on the video and what you know the YouTuber says in their video. But the transmission does look like it transfers uh, the torque and the power, uh, or it distributes the torque and the power evenly to both rear wheels. So that's a plus for the all new Pro Series Magnum 272R. And then and this the TSM basically it keeps your car straight or keeps your wheel straight. It's just like a gyro, but this is not something new. This is something that's been you know in not only in Traxxas but in RCs for a while. Um, Losi has the ABC, which is basically similar, and people have been using gyros, especially in the in in when you in RC when in the drift cars or the drift RC cars, um, they use gyros to keep that straight line when they're drifting. So TSM, yeah, basically is like a gyro. It's easy to drive like a pro with Traxxas stability management. TSM makes racing more fun by allowing the driver to experience the fastest possible straight line acceleration with incredible stability and precise control. After you cross the finish line, TSM dramatically improves braking performance, helps prevent spinouts. And then I guess one of the biggest highlights for the Traxxas drag slash is its Traxxas trans brake. So basically, you press the red button right here, and you just set your throttle position to whatever throttle position you want. You can go full throttle if that's what your heart desire, and your basically your traction drag slash won't move. It's like e-brake in a sense. And then I guess most people refer this to like in drag racing, in scale drag racing, when you're on the starting line and you're waiting for the light to turn yellow in some cases or green in some other cases, uh, you wanna the driver will rev their engine, their combustion engine, to a certain RPM and hold it at a certain RPM. So when the light turns green, they just pop the clutch and they're always at that perfect launch point based on the RPMs. And I guess trans brake is that's what they're advertising trans brake as you know as like scale drag racing, where you like say when you're on the starting line waiting for the light to turn green, you 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 set your revs to a certain RPM to your preference, and then once the light turns green, you just pop the clutch and off you go. That's what they're advertising. Like I said earlier, like that's what they're advertising the Traxxas trans brake as. But technically, it's really not, because you're not revving the brushless motor, because this is electric. Electric is you an electric motor or setup. You get instant horsepower or instant power right off the get go. So basically, it just keeps your RC in one place with while you have your throttle engaged or active, or you like say or you have in full throttle. And when the time when the light turns green, you just let go of that uh, trans brake button or switch, and off you go. So think you're quick on the trigger. This is quicker. Hold the TQI transmitter trans brake switch and set the throttle at the starting line. When the flag drops, release the switch for quickest launch every time. So now this can be a positive and negative. You know, sometimes you don't want that full torque off the start, because depending on your setup, like I said, you may, uh, I guess, over torque it, and you you may pull in one direction right off the start. And sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's better to ease on the throttle and then hit full throttle But every RC is different. So only you as a person know your RC. So you know what's best for you. Like say you can launch it full throttle right off the start. Some people don't like to launch it full throttle off the start. They might just go 3/4 throttle or even half throttle because that way they can, the tires can hook up and off you go. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's the person who gets off the start the quickest and the fastest usually wins the race, but not 100% all the time. And going back to the TSM, honestly, well, I'm just going to talk that when it comes to uh, the value, RC versus the price, and what kind of value are you getting. And so another thing that sets this Traxxas Traxxas apart from other slashes is the wheels and the tires. So you're not getting off-road tires, you're getting slicks for drag racing, and it's only specifically made for drag racing. Now, can you play it on the street? Yes, you can, but you might end up spinning and spinning out. So, but it is specifically these wheels and tires are specifically designed for drag racing. Scale realism meets engineered performance. Ultra-wide Mickey Thompson and ET drag slicks feature an innovative carcass design and molded high-density foam inserts for massive traction off the line and down the track. So that so these right here is the four main highlights in what you get in a slash versus a drag slash versus most of the traction slash. Now the TSM, some traction slash comes with the TSM, but not all. So I was wrong in saying these four features is what you only can get in a drag slash versus a slash. Most likely you won't get the transmission. Uh, I know you won't get trans brake, and I know you won't get these wheels and tires on all slashes, but you may get the TSM. And in regards to the TSM, now this is not legal in a official no prep drag race. So so you would have to um, deactivate or disable the TSM in order to race in official. Now there's different classes. I think there's the open class where I think there's no rules, so you can do or use anything or whatever you want in your drag race, no prep race RC. And some there are specific rules that saying you can't use TSM, gyro, or ABC, or some kind of steering assist. So, like I said, this is kind of like a moot point because if you keep practicing with TSM and you go to an event and you try to race without TSM, it may affect how you drive your uh, Traxxas drag slash. So, but I'll get back to this point later on in the video, and then I'm gonna cover the electronics. I should go to the gallery. Here you go. So this is the transmission. As you can see, all metal gears, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the spur gear, and then you have your pinion gear. Um, and I guess the highlight, I think they show it in here. Right here. So this is this part right here. This part right here, this differential gear housing, this gear right here, which is basically the gear that connects to your drive shafts, that connects to your rear wheels. And inside here, this casing right here is your differential gear, or some people like call it spider gear. And that is this picture right here. So right here, you have your differential gears. So it says there's four of these spider gears right here. 1, 2, I guess 3, 4. So I don't see anything, like I said, special or different about this setup and this differential gear setup compared to other differential gear setup. It's basically, it is what it is. But according to Traxxas, this is an improvement in their other, I guess, their other differential gears. You know, that's what Traxxas says. And so this is the gearing. This is how the gearing looks inside the gearing itself. As you can see the outer gearings. And this, like I said, this is the output shaft that connects your drive shaft um, from your transmission to the rear wheels. And this is where you'll have the 500,000 K diff fluid in here sealed. So what the 500,000 K diff fluid is supposed to, like, help transfer the torque and the power uh, evenly to both rear wheels, like I explained earlier, which is, like I said, is a plus when you're drag racing, because you want each wheel to be distributed evenly and be able to spin equally off the line. So that way, I said, you don't pull to one side drastically. Yeah, here I'm going to talk about the electronics. I don't think, no, there's another page that I can probably go to. If I can find it. Yes, right. Okay, so all I'm going to do is talk about the speed control and the motor. So the speed control, it's a VXL-3S electronic speed control. So it's capable of running 2S to 3S Lipo batteries. Now I couldn't find the amp capabilities on this ESC. I'm sure it's very low, probably less than 100 amps. Uh, and the reason why is because it's running a Villinian 3500 kV motor. So it's a 10 turn. So uh, the lesser the kV, the more less speed you have, but you have more torque. So this is like a high torque motor, and the Traxxas drag slash is specifically to uh, output high torque. And I think the reason why, and I'm gonna get to it. So, okay, I guess I'll just get to it. So basically, the Traxxas drag slash, in my opinion, is an entry level no prep drag RC. And when I say entry level, it's for people who are considering or wanting or have no experience in no prep drag racing. So this Traxxas drag slash is excellent, excellent and great, ready to run no prep drag RC if you're thinking of getting into no prep drag racing RC. And that's what it was. That was the main target consumer is the entry level or beginner no prep drag racer, because of the way it's set up, the electronics. It's not a high speed um, setup. It's a high torque setup, a low speed setup. So when you have low speed and higher torque, it's easier to control. Um, it's easy to control the RC, especially in this case when you're drag racing. Because believe me, trust me, folks, um, trying to keep an RC straight ahead when you're going at high speed is very difficult, especially when you're trying to launch off the starting line. I see many people try to do it, and not too many of them are successful. So that's why it's a high torque, low speed setup, is for it to target the entry level um, no prep RC RCer, right? Entry level, beginner. Now, in regards to the price, it's not targeted for the entry level or beginner level no prep drag RCer. The price to me screams is targeting the expert professional no prep drag RCer. Now, are you getting the best value for this Traxxas drag slash? Honestly, like I said, it's overpriced. And the reason why I say it's overpriced because if you get the bug when you get this and you start drag racing and start getting good at it, now you want to take your no prep drag RC, or in this case the Traxxas no prep drag RC, to another level, right? So what you're gonna do? The first thing you're gonna change out is the electronics, because this electronics is not gonna compete in a official event where money is on the line. Can it be? Can it compete? Yes, respectably, probably. It depends on the driver or the person behind or holding that transmitter. But all in all, it's most likely it's not going to be competitive. I could be wrong. Like I said, there's a lot of variables and factors that goes into drag racing besides your setup. Now, I have seen, like I said, I've been in the drag racing scene. I have seen cars that people spent big money on, and I have seen people drive cars that they spend even like half the money just because the person has the bigger and badder and more expensive parts. Doesn't mean he's always gonna win. I have seen, like I said, I have seen the guys who spent way less money when drag races after drag races after drag races versus the ones who spent money, a whole lot of money on trying to make their car um, the best drag racing car out there. Because, like I said, the most important thing, you can do all the mods, you can do all the upgrades, you can spend all the money, but if you can't drive the car, that car is not gonna uh, perform up to its potential, its capabilities. Now, the most important thing is the driver. You know, the driver will determine whether or not will make that RC or car look great or not. That's my point. So, like, are you getting the best value? No. Um, but like I say, it is a great entry level, beginner level, no prep drag RC right out of the box. And, if that's something you just don't want to build or modify, you just want to taste the no prep drag RC and see how it is. Like I said, this is the perfect entry level no prep drag racing. Now, like I said, the price is not targeted or marketed for the uh, entry level, beginner level, no prep drag RCer. It's more targeted for the um, expert professional. But this is Traxxas. Like the Traxxas has a big, loyal consumer base, and so no matter what Traxxas they put out there, no matter what the price is, people are gonna buy the Traxxas over a cheaper and probably better product. Like I said, this will probably sell very well, even at the price at $499.95. Because, like I said, Traxxas has a big, loyal consumer base, and that's what they're banking on. They said, you know what, our consumers, they're gonna buy our product no matter what the cost is or what the price is. And yes, there are consumers that will pay for the Traxxas brand name or spend the extra money for the Traxxas brand name because it's a Traxxas. Right now, moving on to the Losi 69 Camaro 22S drag car, which I have here. So, like I said, I'm not gonna go every single detail, but as you can see, its price, you can get it for $399.99 versus the Traxxas Drag Slash, which is priced at $499.95. So you're spending a little bit over $99.05 more for the Traxxas Drag Slash versus the Losi 69 Camaro 22S drag car. Like I said, I'm not gonna go I'm not gonna go cover every single detail or specs on this no prep drag car, but I'm just gonna give you folks in a comparison. So what you're getting in the ESC is you're getting a Spectrum Firma 100 amp smart ESC, which is pretty good, not too bad. 100 amp, not too bad. Which you probably need because you're getting a 6500 kV brushless motor. So this has this Losi 69 Camero 22S has a higher KV, which is almost doubled the KV versus the Traxxas Drag Slash. The Traxxas Drag Slash is 3500 kV. This one is a 6500 kV. So you're almost getting almost double. I would say about 95% more kV, which equates to more RPMs, which equates to a faster motor but less torque. So you're getting almost uh, a no prep drag RC that's probably um, twice as more fast than a prep than the Traxxas drag RC. But like I say, does, just because it has more KV doesn't mean it's the um, better RC. Now, in my opinion, I know in one of my videos I said I prefer torque over high speed, and I got that totally confused. It was late at night. It's actually I prefer a higher RPM motor than uh, or a higher kV motor versus a lower kV motor. I prefer a higher speed versus torque, and uh, because this is an electric setup, the power is instantly fast. Or the power generates and transfers to the motor within instant speed. And compared to a combustion motor, it takes a while to reach its maximum horsepower or torque. The electric, you reach that horsepower and torque instantly. So that's why I would prefer the 6500 kV, and not only about it, I would prefer a higher kV motor is because on the starting line, like I said, you won't you will most likely won't over torque or spin off the line, and then it has the Mickey Thompson rear racing stick wheel, just like the Traxxas Drag Slash. The difference between the chassis, this one has a 3 millimeter thickness aluminum chassis, which is good. You want stiffness when you're drag racing. I'm not saying the Traxxas Drag Slash. I mean, that nylon composite chassis is pretty stiff in itself. Um, so front bumper, adjustable weight placement. So if you wanted to add more weights to the front, you can. I don't think that's necessary to add more weight in the front. Actually, you would want you want less weight in the front. And because you want the front, or you want the drag to actually really off the start. And there's a reason for that. I probably won't cover it. Okay, so and I guess adjustable battery position. I would want the battery to go all the way to the back as possible. That's my opinion. That's the way I would set it up. Oil filled coilover spring shocks. So they're saying that the rear shocks are very stiff, and that's what you want. Me, I would just well, I guess you can because you need actual spring shocks. But I would from for me, I would remove the shocks and just put rod ends or rod links. And I would put spring shocks in the front, but I would remove the rear shocks and just um, connect it to like rod links, and then Peter shocks, fully adjustable turnbuckles, blah blah blah. And then this has all metal gear transmission, and then it also has a sealed gear differential, 500,000 K oil diff. Same thing like the Traxxas Drag Slash. And like I said, that's so you can both wheels, the power and the torque is distributed evenly off the start, so you don't like spin out on one wheel. Because in the differential setting, one wheel is always like posy. So if this is the power wheel, right, and this wheel doesn't spin equally or evenly compared to this one, you would just end up uh, have a you would just turn right, um, do a sharp right turn, and that's a recipe for disaster and recipe to lose your race. Then precise adjustable wheelie bar, full ball bearing, and official. Okay, so here we have the Spectrum from 100 smart AC, which is it's capable of. I think the 100 amp is a C rating or consistent or constant. Has built-in telemetry. Then you have the Spectrum Firma 6500 kV brushless motor for higher speed compared to the Traxxas drag slash. The Traxxas drag slash has just more torque by less speed. And then you have this radio system. It's just a regular radio, 3-channel radio or transmitter. And then you have basically just a regular, I don't know, what is it? I don't know how many channels it is. It's like 5-channel. So this doesn't have AVC. So you have no gyro or no steering assist. Then you have your slick tires, wheels and tires, like say aluminum chassis, 3 millimeter thickness, front bumper, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's about it. Then here's your, you know, diff gear. Wait. So like I said, sealed gear differential, 500,000 K oil. The sealed gear differential comes standard with 500,000 K diff oil installed on you to throw as much power as you want. Then the adjustable wheelie bar, and then you have your 69 Camaro body. So, in overview, or so this no prep drag RC, this is targeted for the expert or professional no prep drag race RCer because because you have no steering assist and you have no trans brake, so it's all driver, and you have a high speed setup or a higher speed setup. Because like I said, the faster a RC go, it's the harder to keep it straight. But but because it's specifically designed and also you can do a lot of adjustments. Like so you can adjust the weight in the front, and you also can adjust the position of the battery. So it's like a lot of tuning and testing. Some people don't want to tune and test, and they just want something great out of the box and just something to play with right out of the box. So this one, it's great. You can play it right out of the box. But if you like, say, if you wanted to get into competitive racing, competitive drag racing, when money is on the line, or cash prize is on the line, you can actually do a lot of tinkering, tuning to make this perform to your preference, or perform the best way you want it to, or be very competitive in an official no prep drag racing event. And like I said, you know, the electronics, you can program it. It's programmable, so you can do a lot of programming. I guess you can adjust the timing on the uh, not only on the brushless motor but in the ESC. Adjust your drag brake strength, um, and how much power output you want on, from 0 to 100% throttle. Um, I'm pretty sure you could do that in the Traxxas also, but they don't specify that. Like I said, I have no experience with that ESC, so I can't give you my honest opinion. But yeah, and especially the 6500 kV, like it's super fast right out of the box. So yeah, like I said, this is targeted for the I shouldn't say expert or professional no prep drag RC. It's targeted for the ones who now also want to get into no prep drag racing RC, like your beginner or um, no experience RC prep. Um, it's targeted for all consumers because even if you're like a beginner or someone who's starting to get into the no prep drag racing scene, uh, like I said, you still buy this RC and still get good at no drag racing, and then it gives you the option to make adjustments and customize your RC right out of the box. Like I said, probably the only thing you probably have to change is your electronic setup. but that's basically it. Or I change your pinion gear, but I'm sure the pinion gear or the gear ratio is set up optimal for the 6500 kV brushless motor. So yeah, when I first thought of it, I said it was, well, it seems like it was targeted for the expert professional no prep drag racer, but not only it's targeted for the expert or no prep expert or professional no prep drag racer, but it's also targeted for all consumers who is interested or want to. I say all. It's targeted for all consumers, whether you're a beginner or someone who wants to get into the no prep drag racing scene, or you're already in the no prep drag racing scene and considered an expert or professional. And like I said, this is targeted for all consumers. And the great thing is the price is targeted for all consumers because it's priced at $399.99, which is $99.05 less than the Traxxas drag slash, which basically you just have in the Traxxas no drag slash. You have something that's great out of the box. It will run excellent, and it can be competitive in a no drag racing scene. But will it win you races? That's up to you. Um, but like I say, you can probably the $100 or the $99.95 or the $99.05 that you spend um, more on the no prep drag Traxxas no prep drag RC. You probably can use that and put more into this Losi. Like I say, get a better Lipo battery, and then that's where I'm gonna come to is discuss Lipo batteries. So it's all either RC, it's a great RC. It just depends on your budget, and what you how much you're willing to invest. If you're getting into or already is into the no prep drag racing scene. So for me, in my honest opinion, the better value is the Losi 1969 Camero 22S no prep drag RC car, because you're getting everything in pretty much everything to compete competitively in a no prep drag racing scene. Whereas in the Traxxas drag slash, you're getting something that's great out of the box. It's specifically designed for the entry beginner or entry level no prep drag racing RC. Like I say, if it can probably be competitive and no drag racing, but if if you want to win those prize cash money, you're gonna have to spend extra money to make it go faster. So now I'm gonna cover lipo batteries and why lipo batteries are important, especially in an OPEP drag racing scene. Yeah. So here I have is my whiteboard. I bought this a long time actually for this RC channel. So I'm just gonna open it up. And this will tell you why the Losi is better than the Traxxas. So in a LiPo, right, you have your voltage, you have your voltage, you have your capacity, and you have your C rating. Right there. Voltage, capacity, and C rating. So for example, so voltage in a no prep is basically the maximum voltage you can use is 8.4 volts, which is probably 2 cells. I don't think they have a specific rule on the capacity. but I'm just gonna like give you folks a general idea of why the capacity and the C rating is the most important thing on a LiPo battery. So say we have a 5,000 milliamp LiPo battery, 2S LiPo battery, and also a, just for kicks, 10,000 milliamp LiPo battery. And then we have one, both LiPo batteries is 50C, 50C rating. So that's what I have written here. So in order to get the discharge rate, you have to times milliamp divided by 1,000 times the C rating equals the amp output, right? So remember that, folks. If you don't know, the milliamps divided by 1,000 times the C rating equals the amp output. So here I have a, for example, I have a 5,000 milliamp capacity LiPo 2S LiPo battery and also a 10,000. Oops, forgot the other zero. So 10,000, and then like I said, both LiPo batteries is at 50C. So so basically this is the amp output, and the amp output is the amount of electric current or power or amps, which is their power output. Uh, that's the amount of amps your LiPo battery can produce or output to the ESC, then eventually gets to the motor, which transfers it to the tires and the wheels. So, and a 5,000 milliamp, we do the 5,000 milliamp. So 5,000 divided by 1,000 times 50 equals our amp output. So basically, 5 times 2, 5 times 50 equals 250, 250 amp output or power output. So you want to make it simple. So 250 amp output, and this is at C rating. So C rating normally is when you go full throttle. Once you hit full throttle on your transmitter, this is the peak, and then the C rating is constant. So when you go full throttle, you hit a peak, and then after a certain period of time or a short period of time, the amp output will drop, and we have a straight line, which probably don't have a straight line. So this is constant right here, constant at full throttle, because in reality, the LiPo battery cannot output the max discharge rate for a long extended period of time. It will just have a peak, and then it will taper down, and it will have a constant amp output throughout the full throttle curve. So in this case, normally this is like, so when a LiPo battery says it's C rating, normally it's the constant C, 50C, and then the peak rating is normally double the C rating. So in this case, it's going to be 100C. So for the peak output, peak amp output, or the burst rating, what they like to call it a burst rating. So if we go 5,000 divided by 1,000, which is 5 times 100 equals 500 amps. 500 amp output for a LiPo battery. So here, the burst rating is 500 amps. And then, like I said, the constant is 250 amps. Now this, like I said, this is at full throttle. When you go full throttle on your transmitter. Okay. And now we'll do the voltage for the 10,000 milliamps. So we'll go 10,000 divided by 1,000 is 10 times 50 equals 500 amp output. Let's put 500 amps. Then we do the amps. So now we'll do the peak. This is for constant, right? Amp output constant, and then 10,000 milliamps divided by 1,000 equals 10 times 100 equals, oh, too much, sorry, equals 1,000 amp output burst or peak, right? Why is this important, the 500 amps or the 250 constant? Because you have to find an ESC that's capable of handling this amp output. Because if your ESC, for example, like the Losi Firma, I think that 100 amp is rated at C rating. And I think constant, I mean, at peak or burst is probably rated at 200 amps. So if you run this 2S LiPo battery, even at 5,000 milliamps, uh, that's way too much power to uh, that the ESC can handle. It, like I said, the maximum peak burst level is 200 amps. So they're gonna probably over time fry out your MOSFETs or your capacitors because it's not gonna be able to handle this much power. Your ESC won't be able to handle this much power. And but that's all relative to the kV on your motor or what type of brushless motor you run. Because like I said, the higher the kV, the higher the RPM, and not only the higher the RPM, but the higher the amp draw from the brushless motor. So another point I'm going to point out is sometimes why voltage is not really relevant between LiPo batteries, and why, like I said, voltage is not as important, but why the capacity is important. So now we're gonna do a 2S versus a 3S, right? Well, 3S, it's not a 3S. Yeah, Shanita. I'm gonna wipe this off. Like I said, we're gonna do a 2S versus a 3S. So so on the 3S we're gonna do the 5,000 milliamps, and on the 2S we're gonna do the 10,000 milliamps, right? So we already did the calculations for this setup. So even though we added a voltage, the amp output didn't change. It's still at 500 peak, 500 amps at peak or burst, and then 250 amps at constant, right? And then as for the 2S 10,000 milliamp, 500 or 1,000 at peak, 1,000 amps at peak, then we have 500 amps at constant. So you're getting, even though you're getting an extra cell or voltage on the 3S, the 2S actually will outperform the 3S because of the amp output. And like I said, the amp output is what determines the amount of electricity or electric current or power the battery is capable of producing or outputting. So I bet. See, so that's why sometimes um, the capacity is overlooked, and especially when it's regard to the voltage um, battery. So like I said, sometimes 3S is not better than 2S. It all comes down to capacity, the milliamps. And then, so now we're going to do a comparison on the motors. Okay, so the Traxxas is put for T. Their motor is a 3500 kV, and then the Losi motor is a 6500 kV. Okay, so both can run 2S, but I'm gonna make this video short, put a twist on it. I'm gonna run the Traxxas 3500 kV at 3S, right? 3S, which is 11.1 volts, and then the Losi at a 2S, 7.8 volts. Wait, what am I getting wrong here? 7.4 volts, right? Am I doing it right? Yeah, 7.4 volts. Oh no, my bad. Sorry. Yeah, 7.4 volts. This is 2.7. So now, in order to get the RPMs, what we're looking for is RPMs, revolutions per minute. Oops, RMP, not RMP or rock. So RPM, revolutions per minute. So like I said, we're gonna run the Traxxas at 3500 kV at 3S, and then the 6500, the Losi at 6500 kV 2S, right? So at full charge, I'm gonna try to do this on top of my head, but wait. So full charge, a fully charged 3S Lipo battery is going to be at 12.6 volts, and a fully charged um, two-cell Lipo battery is going to be at 8.4 volts. Right. Now to get the RPM, we have to times kV times voltage equals RPM. So in the Traxxas case, 3500 kV times 12.6 equal 12.6 volts equals 44,100 RPMs. Yeah, now we're gonna go with the Losi, 6500 times 8.4 equals 54,600 RPMs. So, my point is, even at 3S, if you run the Traxxas drag slash at 3S, you're only getting a maximum of 44,100 RPM. So this is the fastest your Traxxas drag slash can go. Now, with the Losi, like I said, we're running it at only a 2S LiPo, which is one cell or less voltage than the Traxxas. 6500 kV times 8.4 volts equals to 54,600 RPMs. Now we're getting 10,000 more RPMs, actually 10,500 more RPMs in the Losi compared to the Traxxas Drag Slash, and we're running it at 1 cell less. So that's a significant difference. 10,000 RPMs is a very significant difference. That equates to a faster, way faster, way faster drag RC. Now, just for fun, we're gonna times the Losi 6500 by 3S to get how much to get the RPMs on a 3S. And it equals to 81,900 RPMs. And just like I said earlier, you're getting a lot more speed, or almost twice more speed than the 3500. So when you run both at 3S on the Traxxas drag slash, you're getting 44,100 RPMs. That's your maximum. And then on the Losi, your maximum RPM is 81,900 RPMs. Boy, again, I did again. How do I got RMP? RPM. So you almost, like I said, you're almost getting almost like I said, 90%, I would say. 95 maybe, almost 100, almost twice as more RPMs, twice as more faster RC than you're getting in the Losi compared to the Traxxas drag slash. I mean, that's very significant. When you, so even if you, like say for the Losi, if you were slow off the start, you still be able to catch up and pass the Traxxas drag slash in competitive in racing, in drag racing. So that's why my point is the Traxxas drag slash is made for an entry level, beginner level drag RC, no prep drag RC. Like I said, if you want to get, if you want to race competitively and race for a cash prize, it's still, you still can, but to be very competitive and to win races, it's going to be very difficult unless you change out the electronics. And basically, like I said, I don't know the amp rating for the Traxxas ESC, the 3S one. I'm pretty sure it's not rated for this type of output. You know, I mean, you probably can, and you probably would have to run a cat pack or add more MOSFETs to be able to handle that amp output if you're going to run a higher kV motor on the Traxxas. But I would just change out the whole electronics, and that's going to probably easily cost you $200 to $300. And then you already spent extra $100 on the Traxxas drag slash. So that's, I mean, you pretty much can buy a whole nother Losi 1969 Camero no pep drag race ready to run. Or you could use that 400, and even though you don't really need to upgrade the Losi, you could. But that's the point I was getting at. Like I said, Traxxas drag slash, entry level, beginner level RC, great out of the box if you're first starting getting into the no prep drag racing scene. But if you want to be competitive, you still can race it. It's still capable of racing in events, but are you going to win or be competitive? Unless you're a fantastic driver behind that transmitter, you won't stand a chance. But as for the Losi, like I said, it's targeted for the pro level, expert level, not only pro level, expert level, but also the entry level. And then you don't have to really modify or upgrade the Losi. It's like it's competitive right out of the box. You get in a quick, fast, no pep drag racing RC right out of the box, and you're spending $99.05 less compared to the Traxxas. So, like I said, you're getting the better value on the Losi than you are on the Traxxas. Like I said, Traxxas, that's for the diehard Traxxas fanboy. If you want to, like say, but it's all on you. If you just want something to drag race with and have fun and not be competitive, and you're willing to spend the $499.99 on the Traxxas Drag Slash, go right ahead, my friends. But if you want to get not only get into no prep drag racing, have fun and race against your friends the fun, but once you hit that bug and you want to race competitively and you want to race for cash money, not only cash money, but wagers, like wagers versus your friends. Um, yeah, that Losi is going to be very not only competitive, but it may also win you some races. So I hope this video wasn't too confusing. I just wanted to show you folks a different side of IROC. See, I have knowledge and I'm always willing to share knowledge, but I'm not going to share all my secrets. That's eventually. But anyways, sorry for the long video. But I hope you folks learned something today from the RC Know-It-All. So to my next live stream or VOD, take care and aloha. Shaka. And I'm out.